It all started on my 13th birthday. My grandpa gave me a weird gift. It was a red coin with something engraved in the middle. The engraving looked like a cluster of shapes and lines. There were a few other engravings that surrounded the one in the center. However, they were too small for me to make out. I asked my grandpa what the symbols meant. For context, my ancestors immigrated from Israel about 200 years ago. My family used to be fluent in Hebrew, but I guess living in America caused future generations to be less familiar with the language. Grandpa explained that the coin was a protection charm from Israel. The middle engraving was the sigil of an entity named Rotsept. Rotsept was an ancient entity that protected anyone who carried his sigil. The smaller engravings surrounding it were Rotsept's name spelled in the Hebrew alphabet. I remember how my parents looked bothered for some reason. No, my family wasn't religious or anything, but since my parents didn't say anything, I figured it was okay. I thanked my grandpa and promised to always keep the coin on me. I didn't believe in Rotsept, I just thought the coin looked pretty cool. I showed the Rotsept coin to my friends at school the next day. We were in the hallway when Josh approached us. Josh marched towards me, looking mad for some reason. He got in my face and started yelling at me. Apparently, someone ratted him out for cheating on a history test. Josh and I had the same history class that year. The test Josh was talking about was 2 days prior. He figured that I ratted him out because my desk happened to be right behind his, saying that I looked over his shoulder. Yeah, Josh suspected the kid behind him instead of blaming the ones next to him. While Josh was screaming, his head suddenly jerked forward. He looked behind him while rubbing the back of his head. Josh claimed that someone smacked him. My friends and I didn't see anyone. A teacher came to us and asked what was going on. Josh complained that I ratted him out and that someone hit him. I'm not sure if the teacher believed him, but he warned Josh to never act out like that again. The whole day, I thought about what happened to Josh. I knew that I didn't see anyone hit him. A few weeks later, another strange incident happened. I was on my way to PE when Matt tripped me in the halls. Matt hated me for being better at sports than him. I stopped falling just as my face was about to hit the floor. I was practically floating above the ground. I then felt something pull me back up. I looked around for whoever had helped me, but all I saw was Matt's horrified face. Nobody else was in the hall at the moment. When I stood back on my feet, Matt ran off. I stood there trying to process it all when something occurred to me. I dug into my pocket and pulled out the Rotsept coin. I chuckled as a stupid idea came to mind. As I mentioned before, I didn't believe in myths. But then I remembered what happened with Josh. That, combined with the fact that I was literally floating just seconds before, there's no mistaking it. When I got home, I did some research on Rotsept. To my surprise, I couldn't find squat on the internet. Well, except for this one thing. A wiki page mentioned what Rotsept does on a new moon night. It said that he punishes those who've offended those who carried his sigil. Unfortunately, the page didn't explain what Rotsept does then. I figured Rotsept was going to give Josh and Matt nightmares or something, but one day, I heard disturbing news. Josh and Matt were found dead in their rooms. I didn't learn how they died because I was too young. Josh and Matt lived in different parts of the county, yet somehow, both boys died the same way at the same time. Their deaths occurred late at night. When I heard that last bit, I came to a horrifying realization. I got on my computer and looked up when the last new moon was. My blood froze when the date matched the night of the deaths. That's when I felt a hand on my shoulder. I was shaking as I slowly looked up beside me. There was a tall, humanoid creature looking down at me. He had pointy ears and milky white eyes. He had long slits for nostrils, and his skin looked as if it were made of ash. He smiled at me, revealing 2 rows of yellow fangs. He then spoke to me in an unfamiliar language. When he finished, the creature vanished into thin air. I don't know how long I sat there. When I calmed down, I realized that I had seen Rodsept. Before all this happened, I figured that Rodsept was an angel, but what I saw was no angel. That was a demon. I typed what Rodsept said to me on the search bar. Thankfully, I got a translation. Rodsept was speaking Hebrew. He said, "I will avenge all who bear my sigil." I don't know what to do. I never wanted anyone to end up like Josh and Matt. They were jerks, but they didn't deserve to die. I want to tell the police what happened, but who would believe me? I'm going to talk to my grandpa. I love him, but he should have told me everything from the beginning. Maybe he didn't want to say anything in front of my parents. I hope that Grandpa will take the coin back. Either that, or do something to stop Rodsept from killing. I hope for the latter, because I still like having a bodyguard. Wish me luck.